water. Here in New Orleans tonight, after the giant storm came the rising waters. Over 80% of the city is flooded.
The moment the Terrace Hotel lost its roof.
Oh, there it goes. Oh.
Storm chasers have been tracking an actual tornado on the ground just to the northwest of Fort Payne. So this storm is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour.
Hurricane Sandy takes aim at some of America's biggest cities, and it's about to come ashore. Conditions are getting worse by the hour. At least 23 states are now under warnings or advisories because of the storm's winds. Damage could hit $10 billion or even a lot more. Some states could see their worst flooding in a century, and in the Appalachian Mountains, they're expecting blizzard conditions.
Realize tonight entire towns have been wiped out around Gulfport, Mississippi. A local mayor says this is our tsunami.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think the environment is?
I think it's a 10.
I guess 10? I don't know. 3.
Say an 8.
Congo line. I'm gonna go with 10. Congo line. I'd say 10.
If so many people care so much about the environment, what delays change? Through this short presentation on environmental issues, we're going to attempt to answer some of your questions, like how does climate change affect you? What happens to the environment as a result of overpopulation? How important is the environment to the continuation of humankind? In what ways can humans prevent the destruction of the environment? And is there a point of no return? The first controversial environmental issue we're going to talk about is climate change. Despite the urgency and gravity of this issue, in America it has become a partisan mockery, with several people using this as a front to boost their ratings.
Like, for example, with the whole global warming scam, some really good scientists got caught up in an agenda and basically derailed the whole movement.
Well, you know, I don't think global warming's a scam.
I know in 2004, I think it was, you said global warming was a total crock of shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my attitude has been reinforced since then.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? The tornadoes today that we've never seen anything like that?
Abnormal weather patterns around the world have been a fact of life. If you look at the history of hurricanes when I was a kid growing up, we had hurricanes in Scarsdale, New York. That was in 1941. And none of the predictions have come true.
What about the fact that is the overwhelming consensus of all the climate scientists?
That's not true.
It is true.
No,
yes, it
there
is.
is no overwhelming.
You're in the bubble, Bob. You're in the bubble. You're in the bubble. You have to shout at the bubble.
And yes, my plan will continue to reduce the carbon pollution that is heating our planet, because climate change is not a hoax. More droughts and floods and wildfires are not a joke. They are a threat to our children's future, and in this election, you can do something about it.
Public opinion about the existence of climate change is also split.
Does global warming exist? Yes. I don't know. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think
I do. There's signs of it.
Climate change, however, is a serious issue. The accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has exponentially increased in the 20th century and continues to increase. The carbon dioxide causes the greenhouse effect, raising surface temperatures and causing harsh climate extremes. The global surface temperature has been on the rise since 1880, with the 30 warmest years being from 1981 to today, and the 10 warmest years have been 2000 onwards. This is despite the solar output decline, resulting in an unusually deep solar minimum in 2007, 2008, 2009. Most of this heat is absorbed by the ocean, documented in the ocean temperature rising, which in turn leads to the melting of the polar ice caps. Climate change causes the ice sheets to shrink, with sea ice and glacial ice retreating not only in Greenland and Antarctica, but also in the Himalayas, Alps, Andes, and Rockies. Global sea levels rose about 6.7 inches in the last century, but in the last decade this rate is nearly double. Despite this data and extreme weather scenario, all around the world, scientific theories cannot be absolutely proven. But taking precautions against the dangerous effects of climate change, after seeing the preliminary impact and the ominous data, is a very smart thing to do. Now we're going to move on to the dilemma of alternative energy.
What is your view on the use of alternative energy?
Oh, I think it's a good idea. As long as it's practical, I would say go for it. If it's impractical, no, I wouldn't.
Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Middle East are the leading distributors of oil and natural gas in the world. Yet, they have risen to become some of the leading advocates in the propagation of alternative energy. Many of these countries are reaching out to developed countries, like Scotland, who have the resources to promote the use of many different sources of alternative energy, like hydropower, solar power, and wind energy all around the world. Several cities in the Middle East are looking to leave their mark on energy independence. Abu Dhabi, whose economy is heavily dependent on oil and natural gas, has set a goal to 7% energy independence. That is, using renewable resources of energy for 7% of their energy needs by the year 2020. If countries like Abu Dhabi can resolve to make this small change, what is stopping the rest of the world from doing the same? When a lot of people think of stopping air pollution, they automatically want to shut down big factories because with their giant smokestacks, they are the most obvious culprits. What they do not realize is that not all pollution is so visible, and toxic substances can come from unsuspecting places. Carbon dioxide is the main pollutant responsible for toxifying and warming the earth. We already know it comes from power plants. But what too many people do not realize is that it is the burning of fossil fuels that occurs when we do things like drive our cars. That is the main issue. Yet, we do not see many people opting to carpool, take public transportation, walk, or ride a bike. The second main pollutant in the atmosphere is sulfur dioxide. This gas actually blocks the sun's rays, which causes the earth to cool. Volcanoes used to be the main source of this gas, but now people are. Countries have worked to reduce the levels of sulfur dioxide that they produce. But what wasn't realized was that cutting down too much can actually contribute to the warming of the earth. On a large scale, governments have taken steps to limit the emissions of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. But this is only the beginning. What do you do to help the environment? I recycle. I recycle?
Well, I do the obvious things like turn off the light, shower quickly.
These same kinds of chemicals are released into bodies of water all around us. Power plants and other factories have been known to use them as the dumping sites for their waste. This is not only limited to chemical waste, but also regular garbage from the street. And the big factories are not the only ones to blame. If you simply take a walk along the shoreline or to any nearby body of water, you can see the catastrophe that is left behind by human beings. When any kind of waste gets into the water system, it can be toxic and deadly to the ecosystem that lives there. Recycling would cut down on at least part of that waste and harm. It is so simple to do because nowadays there are recycling receptacles no matter where you go. But, like I said, this is only a small part of the problem. People also need to begin to buy smarter and reuse what they can. Many people think that if they recycle, then their job is done. But really, it is only the beginning.
Many people don't give deforestation a second thought, but it's a significant issue in our world. When trees are cut down and brushes destroyed, it presents many issues for humans and the environment. Plants help by taking out carbon dioxide from the air and producing oxygen. With fewer trees, this means humans have less air to breathe and an increase of carbon dioxide, which contributes to global warming. Uprooted trees and brush also makes the soil more susceptible to mudslides, erosion, and other natural disasters. If deforestation continues at current rates, scientists estimate that almost 80 to 90% of tropical rainforest ecosystems will be destroyed by the year 2020. Deforestation is a controversial subject because it benefits the economy at the cost of the natural world. These cleared areas provide land for cattle farming, jobs, lumber and paper products, and space for new housing developments. And while many scientists think that ecosystems can't recover from deforestation, there are others who believe the rainforests are more resilient than originally believed. The amount of forests in the United States has gone through an overwhelming decrease since the colonists came to America. Deforestation in the Amazon rose to high levels in the mid-1990s and 2000s. Efforts have been made to plant new trees so that these environments can be restored. People are gradually becoming more aware, making changes to their lifestyles by recycling and using less paper.
And do you think we as humans abuse our natural resources? Yeah. Generally? Okay.
Definitely.
To what extent?
Quite a lot. I mean, this is evident by how much we've taken over.
It likely comes as no surprise that much of the wildlife on Earth is in serious danger. Due to overhunting, loss of territory and food sources, poaching, and pollution, many species are struggling to survive. Before long, many of the animals we know will become extinct. Some already are. This issue sparks controversy because there are people who want rights to hunt, and the ever-expanding human population demands an overwhelming amount of space and resources. Wildlife depletion limits biodiversity. Because of overhunting and the destruction of the environment, species have a less varied gene pool and aren't able to adapt to changing environmental conditions. In addition, there are valuable species involved with the production of lumber, paper, food, and medicines that humans can't afford to lose. Humans have been steadily leading to the decrease of wildlife for many years, not purposely intent on making it difficult for species to survive, but doing it nonetheless. The risk to animals is less important as people try to find resources to keep up with growing populations. Poachers kill already endangered animals, and the clearing of ecosystems for human use has significantly cut down on the amount of resources available for animals. Not to mention the amount of pollution that's scattered around the land, floating through rivers, and that is in the ocean. Underwater creatures are in just as much danger as those on land. Steps have been made to fight for Earth's wildlife. Authorities have been cracking down on poaching when they can, and have set laws in place to prevent people from overhunting. There is still a lot of work to be done, but people can and have started by reducing the amount of waste they put into the environment and raising awareness about protecting what we still have left.
Change is possible, but only if people are aware.
3 R's of the environment.
Use, recycle.
I know once reduce, and that's why I'm like, oh, let's reuse and recycle.
The absolute worst thing to do is to take solace in the time we have left. If there was an asteroid heading to the Earth, people will find a way to avert it. Climate change, pollution, these are the asteroids. All hope is not lost. All we have to do is rise up to the occasion and reverse the negative impact. Together, we can make a difference.